Karl Marx versus Max Weber, who was right? When people think about sociology, two names always stand out: Karl Marx and Max Weber. These two great thinkers shaped the way we understand society today. They both looked at the world around them and asked big questions like, why is there so much inequality? Why do some people have more power than others? What drives change in society? And how does money, religion, and class affect people's lives? Although Marx and Weber were interested in many of the same topics, they had very different ideas about how society works. In this video, we will break down what each one believed in simple terms and try to understand who was more accurate about the world we live in today. Karl Marx is most famous for his ideas about class struggle. He believed that the main force driving society was economics. In simple words, he thought everything came down to money and who controlled it. According to Marx, history has always been a fight between the haves and the have-nots. In his time, the rich were the capitalists, also called the bourgeoisie. These people owned factories, land, and businesses. The poor were the workers, or the proletariat. They had to sell their labor to survive. Marx said that capitalism was unfair because it allowed the capitalists to get rich by taking advantage of the workers. Workers put in long hours, often in bad conditions, but they were paid very little while the business owners made huge profits. Marx believed that one day the workers would realize they were being treated unfairly and rise up in revolution. They would overthrow the capitalist system and create a new society without classes, where everyone would share resources and wealth more equally. Now let us look at Max Weber. Like Marx, Weber was interested in inequality, but he did not think it was just about money. He believed that power and status were also important. Weber said there were three key elements in society: class, status, and party. Class is about money and wealth, status is about social respect and honor, and party is about political power and influence. He thought that someone could be rich but not respected, or respected but not powerful, or powerful without being rich. Weber also focused a lot on ideas and beliefs, especially religion. He is famous for studying how the Protestant religion helped shape capitalism in the West. He said that Protestants believed hard work, discipline, and saving money were signs of being chosen by God. These religious ideas helped people become more focused on business, profit, and efficiency. In other words, Weber believed that ideas could shape economics, not just the other way around. So who was right, Marx or Weber? Marx's ideas help us understand the deep inequalities that exist in society. Even today, we see a big gap between the rich and the poor. Large companies make billions in profit while many workers struggle to pay rent or afford health care. Marx predicted that capitalism would lead to more and more inequality, and that prediction has come true in many ways. In this sense, Marx was right about the unfairness of the system and how the economy can shape people's lives. However, Weber added something important that Marx missed. He showed that culture, values, and beliefs also matter. Think about how people's behavior is shaped by religion, family, traditions, and media. These things influence how we see the world, how we act, and even how we think about money and success. Weber was also more realistic in some ways. He did not believe there would be a perfect society after revolution. Instead, he warned that modern society might become too focused on rules, control, and efficiency. He called this the iron cage of bureaucracy. In many ways, we are living in that cage today, with strict systems, paperwork, and institutions controlling every part of our lives. Some people say that Marx was too focused on the economy and ignored the role of human ideas and creativity. Others say that Weber was too focused on ideas and did not see how much control money and class really have. The truth is, both of them were partly right. Marx helps us understand why poverty, injustice, and conflict exist. Weber helps us understand why people follow rules, value certain beliefs, and act in ways that are not always about money. In today's world, we can see examples of both theories. Big companies still control much of the economy, and class divisions are clear. But we also see how culture and beliefs shape what people want and how they live. Social media, religion, and politics all influence people's values, sometimes even more than money. For example, many people vote or act against their own economic interests because of what they believe or how they see the world. That is something Weber would understand better than Marx. So, who was more accurate? That depends on what part of society you are looking at. If you want to understand the fight between workers and big companies, then Marx gives you powerful tools. If you want to understand why people obey rules, follow traditions, or believe in systems that are unfair, Weber helps explain that. In fact, many modern sociologists use both of their ideas together to get a full picture. It is also important to remember that both Marx and Weber were writing in very different times. Marx lived in the 1800s when factories were new, workers had almost no rights, and rich industrialists had enormous power. His ideas were shaped by those harsh conditions. Weber lived a bit later and saw a more complex society with institutions like universities, governments, and bureaucracies playing a bigger role. That is why Weber's ideas often seem more modern and flexible. Even though their ideas were different, both Marx and Weber wanted to understand how society works and how it could be improved. They wanted to uncover the hidden forces that shape our lives. Their work still influences everything from politics and economics to education and media. When you read about social justice, inequality, class, race, or religion, chances are, those ideas have roots in what Marx and Weber wrote more than 100 years ago. In the end, it is not a question of choosing one over the other. Instead, we can learn from both. Marx teaches us to question the systems that create wealth and power for a few while leaving many behind. Weber teaches us to look at how values, culture, and institutions shape our lives in ways we often do not even notice. Together, they help us see the world more clearly and think about how we can make it better. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful or learned something new, please give it a like. Share it with friends who are interested in sociology or philosophy, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel for more educational and thought-provoking content. Your support means a lot, and it helps us keep creating valuable content for learners everywhere. See you in the next video.